Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Spirit School, the Spirit School page if you're on YouTube. I am answering your questions. So I received almost 200 questions. We're going to have a lot of different videos coming up for you, and I'm just going to go through them one at a time. And so I hope that you are okay with shorter episodes. These are something that I have been working towards doing in my career after being such a long form content creator for a long time. I thought this would be a really great idea to practice synthesizing how I speak about some of these things. So I hope that you find the answers that I give helpful. Just knowing too that I am not the keeper of the capital T truth of all things human and spiritual. And what I share with you is basically my spiritual philosophies and my beliefs, which are formed by, same thing as your beliefs, our childhoods, our upbringings, society, our structures. But most importantly, as I come to you today with 11 years experience as a medium and as a mediumship mentor and a spiritual mentor. And, through the course of time and over the course of years, you'll hear me always explain this. How I answer things today is based off of, what comes up for me today on this question. And how I answer things today is going to sound very different than how I answered things 5 years ago, because I've had a lot of experiences in the past 6 years since I started this podcast. And my understanding of things continues to expand and evolve as I continue to expand and evolve. So I want to start by just sharing that teaching, because I think it's important if we are committed to spiritual evolution and growth, and which is why we would even be drawn to a path like mediumship or spirituality, that we also have the spiritual humility to understand that we don't know everything, and that what we share is based off of our truths, based off of our experiences and our understanding of those experiences. So they're going to continue to evolve as I continue to evolve. And the day I stop evolving is the day that I stop doing this work because I don't think that we're ever done training, developing, evolving, and, expanding our spiritual beliefs and truth. So why does our spirit team step back when we go through big human experiences? So this person is obviously a long-time Spirit School listener, because you would have heard me say in my first couple years of the podcast, it's like every time I go through something really hard or tricky, it's like spirit just takes a hike. They take a hike and I just can't perceive them. And I started seeing patterns of that really early on in my development. It's like I would be wanting to do a career change, or I would be second guessing myself big time, or I'd be having an identity crisis, or really questioning the path. And I would go into the same types of meditations I would typically go into to connect in with the guides, receive some upliftment or repose or inspiration. And it was always during really troubling times. It's like I couldn't hear them, I couldn't feel them. And I remember Googling really early in my professional career, I remember actually sitting there and Googling, is spirit mad at me? Did I make spirit upset? Did I lose my abilities? Why can't I sense spirit? And so at the time, and I tested this actually, because in 2016, I remember sitting at the kitchen table with my husband, who's a very non-believer of any of this. Go check out my previous episodes if you want more details on that, your life with a non-believer. But I remember saying to him, I feel like something's about to happen, because it's like dead air around me. And, when you tune into the world of energy, you can feel the energy. It's really palpable. And you can feel when there's no energy present. That is even more palpable. And so when there's no energy present, I'm like, wow, something's about to happen. And sure enough, within a week of me saying that to my husband, I ended up in neurological critical care. That was the last experience that I questioned. I knew when I was about to go through, maybe we call it a divine experience. Maybe it's one of those experiences where there's a little bit less divine free will and a lot more divinity at play, charted, if you will. If you're somebody who believes that, we chart much of our plans before we come in. I'm going to be married to this person and have these children, and I'm going to have this career so I can learn these lessons. There's a lot of old spiritual beliefs that so much of our lives are charted and only very little is divine free will. I personally think there are definitely things that are charted and unavoidable, but I think the majority of our life is divine free will. Okay, so I used to believe at the time that our spirit guides play a role of helping us through this life accomplish what we set out to accomplish, not for our human success, but for our spiritual evolution. Because I do believe so much of this is about the growth of the soul and the growth of the spirit. And so I imagine our guides on the other side as our best friends on the other side, the people that, or the spirits, I should say, that we converse with before we come in. This is going to be my mom. These are going to be my kids. I'm going to, rectify this or restore balance to this. And I want to have an experience in this. And we're kind of excited about the life ahead because we know the soul growth that is going to bring. And so our guide's role is one of making sure that happens to the best of its capacity. Of course, we'll fall off track and things will come up. But, I imagine when I was going through a divorce when I was 22, with a very abusive husband at the time, that, my Nana would have on the other side have been like, we need to step in and make this easier. Because I know as a mom of 2 young kids and also as a medium who connects in with people who express this love that not only doesn't die but is amplified from where they come from, that I know if I died tomorrow, I would want to do whatever I could to be a spiritual ally to my children while they're still here. So I know that I would try to intervene like I do intervene as a mom alive. I don't think that we're that different when we cross over. And so I've always felt like my guide's role was one of stand back, Nana. She's got to experience this. You have to understand where she is going. She needs to have this experience to get her where she's going in 20 years from now or 10 years from now. And so I always envisioned my guides. I couldn't sense them because they're just stand back. She's kind of got to go through this. This is something that she signed up for. So as I started to become a little bit more obsessed with the world of energy, and as a medium, you can really feel the life force energy of your sitter. You can feel the life force energy of, the spirit communicators on the other side. And you can feel where that life force energy is really dim. So I started playing with my own energy in deeper ways around this time too. How far can I move my energy? How protective can I be of my energy? Can I will my own energy, what I give away and what I preserve after this experience? And it became an obsession. And if you've taken any of my mediumship training programs, I have a whole segment on energetic sovereignty. I started to realize that when I'm going through hard times, my energy is contracted. I know this seems so obvious, but at the time, it just wasn't obvious. I thought I was being punished. And then I thought it was because it was divine. And then now I'm just like, it's energy, baby. It's all energy. And so, of course, I can't perceive spirit, because the funny thing is, as I started opening up my clairvoyance more, it's like I could see them there, but I couldn't sense them. And I realized they don't go anywhere. It's just we can't perceive them because of our energy field, because typically during hard times, our energy field is really inwards. It's collapsed. It's not expansive. And as mediums, one of the things that we can do to help, feel the channel even more is to open up our energy. Right? So we do this thing, I call it, sitting with your essence, but it's what we do is we tune into our energy and then we expand it and then we bring it back in. And this is how we practice energetic sovereignty. So it makes sense that we can't perceive as much when our energy is in versus out. And I think it's as simple as that. I personally believe our guides are always with us. My ears are doing really funny things as I'm talking this. I don't think that they take off at all. I don't think they abandon us. I don't even think that they step or stand back. Maybe some cases they do. I mean, there's no finite answers to any of this. It's all infinite, isn't it? But yeah, I believe that a lot of that sensation of them kind of taking off when things are hard is just because we can't perceive them, because our energy is just collapsed in. So this is where, I'm talking very much as a sensing medium right now because I am a sensor, I'm clairsentient. And so there are absolutely different ways that my guides have been able to get through to me during these times that, I typically would have sat down with myself and tried to make that connection in for myself. And I will say that a lot of it comes through my students. They come through the collective. They come through Spirit School. I get a lot of great messages from people, just random, students that are always wanting to give back to me in some way. And they'll be like, hey, do you mind if I give you a quick little message? I'm like, please. I'm always open for a message. And it will usually be something along the lines of, your spirit guides want you to know that they're there. And sometimes that is like more than enough for me to like restore my faith. I will also sometimes use the tangible world as a way for them to get through to me. I love the bath. I think that something about humans and water, I mean, we're made up mostly of water. This planet's made up mostly of water. The cosmos that circle around us influence the water here. I think water is quite powerful. So during times where I'm not able to sense the spirit world in the same ways that I'm trained and I'm accustomed to, I have to get a little bit creative, have to think out of the box. So I set a date with the bath. Girl, I love a salt bath, right? So I'll do my salt bath and I'll put some, neroli oil in it. And I will tell Spirit, I'm going to put on a playlist right now. And I would love to receive any messages from you from this playlist that I'm going to play. And, much like, when the spirit world will bring us the animal kingdom as signs that were there, like say they bring us birds, not every bird is a sign, but there's this multisensory, almost like the synesthesia effect where we'll see a bird matched with a feeling. And it's like this knowing. It's like that bird's mine, that's them. Like this butterfly is the butterfly. It's not every butterfly, right? Like that would just be kind of silly. And so it's the same thing when you're listening to like the lyrics of a song. You'll be kind of sitting there, but then something will just be so amplified. And then your soul will know like this is for me. This is something I was meant to hear. This is something I was meant to receive. So that's one thing I'll do is I'll just go in for an hour-long bath and I'll put on a random playlist and like, thank you for giving me any messages I need through this playlist. A couple years ago, I was feeling a little bit stuck, and because I was feeling stuck and my energy was collapsed in, I couldn't sense the spirit world. And I would just say, it's my birthday today. Any signs that you can give me that you're here, I'd really appreciate it. I can't feel you. And I do get a little bit melancholy on my birthday. I don't know if anyone else experiences that. And I tell you, I went for a walk by my old workplace and I could not take a step without stepping on a feather. And there was no like slaughter scene, like no bird got killed by this. These were different feathers. And when I got to my car, there was a feather on my windshield. When I stepped out of the car, there's a feather down below. I would take a few steps and like there was another feather. It's like they were like guiding me. And like that's all I needed, just to know that they were there. And one of the things that we typically do, and I believe that it really does ruin some spiritual experiences, is that we try to make sense of it. We try to be like, what are you trying to say? What are you trying to tell me? What does it mean? And that is one of the quicker ways to collapse in your energy, right? Being curious. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you for these feathers. Thank you. I trust that my soul understands what you are trying to relay. That expansiveness, we do receive a lot more of it. And sometimes the message is as simple as, I'm here. Thank you for thinking of me. Here's your sign back that I'm thinking of you too. And so, I want to stop treating the spirit guides like they're humans or that they are working within the same limitations of this human gravity, earth experience, right? We always put human limitations on spiritual things. And so there's a couple different philosophies that came through, like why would we not be able to perceive them? I think the exact wording was, why does our spirit team step back when we have big human experiences? And maybe there is that sometimes too. And maybe hopefully understanding that, a lot of it could just be where your energy is at. And it doesn't mean that you need to like lift your vibration and like get out of that funk. That's bypassing, and that's not the energy of what we want to do. It's self-compassion. At this time, I'm having to feel some things and process some things. I'm okay with that. I know Spirit is here. And just don't negate or underestimate the things that you're meant to heal through when you freak out that they're not there. There's a lot of spiritual maturity that is accessible to you during those times. And maybe it's an invitation for you to look at your own belief systems around this. What do I believe about this to be true? Is that belief helpful? Does that make sense from what I personally know of the spirit world? Those types of rabbit holes, if you will, or inquiries, if you will, are what makes a teacher, are what really helps other people in sessions when similar things come up for them. This is how you form your philosophy. So don't wish it away. Don't bypass it. Hopefully some of these inspirations make sense for you, can feel true for you. Take what resonates, leave the rest behind. Some of it may land for you a little bit from now, but keep the questions coming and I will keep the answers flowing. Bye, everyone.